So we're going to start lying down on our backs. And if you want to have a cushion for your head, then of course, or a small block or a pillow, you can have that in place. And you're going to be lying down. This could be done on the bed or it can be done on the floor as I am. And have your knees bent, feet apart. Place your hands onto your belly, onto your abdomen. And you may choose to close your eyes, and if you don't close your eyes, then keep your gaze steady at one point on the ceiling. So we're reducing the amount of visual distraction by looking around the room. So keep your gaze steady or close your eyes. And bringing your attention to your breath and to the movement of your body as you inhale and exhale. And a very natural way of breathing is diaphragmatic breathing, or breathing using the diaphragm. And if this is occurring, then as you breathe in, you'll feel the abdomen rise up. And as you breathe out, you'll feel the abdomen drop back down again. And you don't need to do anything specific. You don't need to push your belly out or draw it in at the moment. It's a very natural, efficient, effective way of breathing. What can be helpful sometimes is to put one hand on the middle of the chest and one hand on the abdomen. And just check for that pattern of chest breathing. So sometimes as someone breathes in, then the chest lifts up and drops down. And at the moment, what we want is the abdomen moving more than the chest. If you're finding it difficult to settle into this pattern, then perhaps just let go of trying, because the body often will relax and rest into this diaphragmatic way of breathing. So breathing in and the abdomen rises up, breathing out and it drops back down again. Making sure you give yourself enough time for your full inhale and the full exhale. And while you're doing this breathing, if you find that you drift off into thinking or become distracted by whatever our distractions are, then bring yourself back to noticing the movement of your abdomen, keeping your attention with your breath. So you can carry on with this breathing, and especially if you find that you switch into the chest moving as you breathe in and out. If you find that happening, then just come back to the diaphragmatic breathing and stay with that breath. If you find that you've got that pattern, you can add in on the exhale a slight activation of the pelvic floor to draw it up, and a slight activation of the abdominals to draw the belly button in. So there can be a feeling as if you're squeezing the breath out of the body as you breathe out. So to say that again, you breathe in just as we have been doing, the abdomen comes up. As you breathe out, draw the pelvic floor in and up, draw the belly button in as if you're squeezing the breath back out of the body. Everything relaxes again to breathe in. So the drawing up of the pelvic floor and the drawing in of the belly button is a fairly gentle activation. You may find that the exhale becomes noisier as you've got more activity as you breathe out. It becomes a little more powerful. If you find at any point that you're reverting into that chest breathing of the chest lifting up and down, then just stop that practice and revert back to lying, resting, and the diaphragmatic breath. If you're working with the active exhale, if you find that it makes any pain worse, then try activating less. So being more gentle, and if it's still making pain worse, then going back to the diaphragmatic breathing with the very passive and relaxed exhale. And as you do these breaths, it's really important that you go slow enough through the progressions so that you can be aware of what's happening, of how you're breathing, of what your abdomen is doing. So rather than the goal being to complete the breath, the goal is to have attention with your breath and be aware of how you're breathing, of how your body's moving. So I'm going to do 5 more breaths, just as you're doing right now, whichever version you're taking. When you've done your 5 breaths, if you want to take any movements or wiggles or whatever you might want to do, just to change position, reset yourself. We're going to take the arms out to the side now and going to drop the knees over to the right. As you breathe in, going to bring the knees back up to center. And as you breathe out, going over to the other side. Breathing in, come back to center. You're going to keep going, and as you do these, you're going to stay within a comfortable range. So it may be that you stop your knees and they don't go as far as you know they can do, because you're going to keep it within comfort. If you want to at any point, you can stop the rotations, and you can go back to your diaphragmatic breathing. You can reset and then join in again. Breathing out as the knees drop over to the side. Breathing in to come back up to the middle. We're going to go one more to each side. I'll just do my last one to the left. Coming back to center. And rest here, or do any movements that you want to add in. You're going to have your knees placed underneath your hips, hands placed underneath your shoulders, fingers spread wide, and just make sure that you're pressing down through your hands enough so that you haven't lost your neck into your shoulders. So a nice long stable base. When you're ready, on an inhale, you're going to lift your chest, your head and your sit bones. And on an exhale, you're going to tuck the tailbone under, drop the head down, curve the spine up towards the ceiling, keeping the shoulders away from the ears. We don't want to hunch them up with all our efforts. On an inhale, we're lifting the head, chest and sit bones, the pelvis again. As you breathe out, tucking under. Keep the pressure down through the hands so the arms stay long. And just keep moving in your own breath. Moving within a range, again, that is comfortable for you today. And it might change from day to day. I'm going to go for 2 more breaths in each position. And then from here we're going to sit back into child's pose. So you're sitting back onto your heels. You can keep your arms resting out in front of you. Rest your head down onto the mat. If it's more comfortable, you can have your arms down by your side. And do make sure that your forehead is resting on something. So you may want to stack your hands one on top of each other to rest your forehead on. Or maybe make fists. Find some way, if you can, to rest your forehead onto your hands. Take some long, easy breaths here. Feel the breath into the back of the body. I'm going to go for one more breath here. And then we're going to come back into our hands and knees position. Find that steady tabletop position, pressing down through the hands to keep the shoulders away from the ears, spreading out through the fingers. And we go back into our cat-cow. So as you breathe out, tucking the tailbone under, dropping the head down, spine curves to the ceiling, shoulders stay away from the ears. As you breathe in, lifting up your head, your chest, your pelvis, those sit bones. And as you breathe out, tucking under again. Keep going in your own breath. Really keeping that breath awareness and linking your movement to your breath. So you move as fast as your breath is long. Go for 3 more breaths here. Last one. And then sitting back into your child's pose again. Resting your arms or your hands wherever is most comfortable, as long as your forehead is resting on something. If you have tight places or feelings of tightness in your back, then work as if you could draw your breath into those places, wherever they may be. We'll do 2 more breaths here. And then slowly making your way out of this position. And taking your time, I'm going to come up into standing, but there's no rush, so do take your time because we've been down on the floor for a little while, especially if you find your blood pressure changes or you get dizzy at all as you come to stand up. So we're going to come into standing. Place your feet hip width apart. Take a moment to spread the toes out, find some gaps between the toes as much as possible. Legs are straight but knees are slightly soft so they're not locked all the way back. Standing up as tall as you can find, lifting up through the chest, long through the back of the neck. Arms down by your sides, fingers can reach down towards the floor. Just check where your weight is on your feet, that you're not favouring one side or the other, that you're not leaning too far forwards, that you're not leaning onto your heels. You want to have a very even weight between your 2 feet. On your next breath in, we're going to raise the arms up, lift the chest up, lift the gaze up. As you breathe out, we're coming forwards, bend your knees, hands come down to the shins, head drops down. As you breathe in, going to slide your hands up a little bit higher, chest comes forwards, looking forwards, sticking your bottom out behind you. As you breathe out, we're going to fold again, hands slide down the shins. On a breath in, coming up to stand, arms reach up, gaze reaches up, chest lifts up. And back to normal standing. And we're going to do a couple more just like that. So breathing in, arms go up, shoulders stay low and away from the ears. As you breathe out, folding forwards, hands come to the shins, head drops down. Bend your knees to make your back really comfortable. On a breath in, slide the hands up higher, chest comes forwards, looking forwards, sticking your bottom out behind you so you're long through the spine. Breathing out to fold. Breathing in to come up. Arms reach up. And back to standing. And again, breathing in to reach up. Breathing out to fold. Bend the knees as much as they need to. Breathing in, chest comes forward, gaze forward, sticking your pelvis, your bottom out behind you. Breathing out to fold. Breathing in, coming up, reaching up. Keep breathing here, keep reaching up towards the ceiling. Can you also press down into the feet at the same time? Keep those shoulders down away from the ears. And back to normal standing. I'm going to go for 2 more as long as it feels comfortable. Breathing out. Breathing in to find the long spine again. Breathing out to fold. Breathing in, arms reach up as you come up to stand. And back to normal standing. And last one like this. Breathing in. Breathing out to fold. Breathing in to find that long spine. Breathing out to fold. Breathing in to come up. And back to standing. Wonderful. So the next couple of things we're going to do, use a chair. So find your chair and get yourself in place. So come to sitting. You need to sit forwards on the chair. Ideally, we're going to have a 90-degree angle at the hips and at the knees. So if you need to place your feet on something rather than the floor to get that position, then you can do that. I'm going to cross the arms across the chest. And sitting up tall, feeling the weight on your pelvis on both sides. And then you're going to squeeze your buttock muscles, your glute muscles. So this keeps the pelvis and your legs still. Take a breath in. As you breathe out, you're going to twist around to the side. As you breathe in, or on a breath in, you're coming back to the center. Re-squeeze in the glutes if they've relaxed again. And on a breath out, going round to the other side. Breathing in to come back to center. Going to keep going with those. What we don't want as you go is we don't want the pelvis shuffling around. We don't want the knees to move round. So squeezing the glutes will help with that. But you can have a look back at the knees and check that they're still equal. And when you're in your twist, just feel where the weight is on your pelvis. Don't want you leaning off to one side. You want to be very much in the middle. Coming back to center. Doing the same to the other side. So you're doing somewhere between 3 and 5 to each side. And it's up to you, of course, how far you go. But not pushing into pain. I'm going to go for 1 more each side. I'm going to squeeze in the glutes, the buttock muscles. Wonderful. And then relaxing the arms down. You can have a sit back on the chair if that feels better. Still want to have the feet on the floor. And just to finish off, we're going to come back to that diaphragmatic breathing. We're going to do it in sitting now. So you're going to rest one hand onto the abdomen. We're going to use one hand on the chest. You can close your eyes if you're comfortable with eyes closed. And as you breathe in and out, feeling the abdomen move under that hand that's on the abdomen. As you breathe in, the abdomen comes out. As you breathe out, it drops back down again or comes back in again. Not always as easy to do this breath in sitting, depending on how your body is and pain and injury and just how your muscles work and how you move, but good to practice. The hand on your chest is just to monitor that the chest isn't doing lots of lift, because what we're looking for is a very still pelvis, stable pelvis and a still spine. We don't want lots of movement through the pelvis and the spine. And the hand on the chest is also a reminder to keep that chest lifted. We don't want to fall into flexion, into this hunched position. So you can stay there doing your breaths like that, staying as long as feels comfortable. And when you finish with those breaths, that's the end of your program.